Good afternoon and good morning, depending on what time you get to see this message. I want to have a conversation with you as a client of Intergen, where we are acting as independent trustees for your trust. This message is about the introduction to the administration of the trust, and is to ensure that we are aligned and on the same page on how the administration should function, and also to bring a level of literacy to you as core trustees. It's crucial to understand the notion of the trust, the DNA of the trust, if I may use and borrow that abbreviation. The trust notion is to fundamentally to ensure that the assets that are within the trust are separated to the founder or ultimately the beneficiaries of the trust, separated from the control perspective. So which means that legally speaking, the control of the assets of the trust are under the hands of all the trustees. And with that, meaning that given the fact that the control is within the trustees, the benefits, of course, then it's with the beneficiaries. So there's that quick separation. That's the notion of the trust. Now, we need towards or during the administration of that particular trust, maintain that. And we should not blur the lines that will result in the notion of formation of the trust being questioned. And typically what we are seeing is that such kind of notion or the notion of the trust, the lines get blurred, number one, when the transactions of the trust are solely dictated or decided by one trustee. In this case, in most cases, say a founder. Can you see that if the founder happens to still be making all the operating decisions without consulting with the other trustees, surely there's no separation. And legally speaking, the fact that the ownership or the control rather, it's within the trustees, given that we know that when you own and control things jointly, the decisions need to be made jointly. Can you see that you'll be incapacitated to act alone in this context, not being given any form of power by any form of resolutions of the trustees? So now this is how I say, be mindful that every decision or every transaction needs to be afforded a resolution. The discussion can be had, whether telephonically, can be virtually, can be physically, as long as there's been an interaction of the trustees to approve that particular transaction. Be it to open a bank account, be it to enter into buying a property, be it to invest, be it to do any form of, as long as there's a transaction that a trust needs to enter into, it requires deliberation of all the trustees. It's important also that does not necessarily mean that all of us needs to then go and sign. We can then thereafter delegate a one particular trustee to act on behalf of the trust. Can you see that then you'll be maintaining also this second step of saying trustees needs to be seen to be acting jointly. And it's coming from the notion of the control of the assets or the notion of the trust formation to say the control of the assets of the trust are with the trustees. So that is a key message that I want to share with you to say, every transaction before you enter into, please have a conversation with all the trustees, including independent trustees. It doesn't have to be more than long meeting. It can be 1 minute, it can be 2 minutes, but they need to be that particular meeting so that it's recorded. And the minutes needs to be drafted to say, yes, we had this conversation telephonically or through virtually. And then the minutes will then support the resolution that comes that then say, so-and-so is delegated to sign OTP as an example. It also happens that most of you go and submit offer to purchase as an example, and you bind in the trust before you even actually having been delegated to do that. Can we stop doing that? Let's have a conversation and say, I'm in a process of looking for a property. We are in a process of looking for property. And then you'll be delegated to go out there, look for property. You'll be delegated as part of the trustees can decide to delegate you. Let me put it that way. The trustees can decide to delegate you and also empower you to sign, then empower you to sign an OTP once the transaction has been discussed, because they need to be those steps. You cannot just jump and say, I sign the OTP, and next thing we just see that the trust owns a property without having followed those steps. I thought I should share this kind of a message because I see that most transactions will potentially be in the trust, having no minutes, having no resolutions, and end up blurring the lines on the formation of the trust. I hope you understand. If you don't have a clear understanding and you've got further questions, you're more than welcome to contact our office and we'll clarify any form of questions that you might have. Have a great day. Cheers.